Gale Force, and if anybody is solo soaking a Ragnaros, if Zeratul has his eyes on that person, all of a sudden it becomes a 3v1 or even a 2v1 where he comes in, he body blocks, polymorph, slow down, and ganks could continue for Gale Force Esports.
I think how I would put it is that because Gale Force was so dominant in game 1 and 2, and now we see them on home turf with a very familiar strategy, I think Naventic is really going to struggle here. That being said, I don't hate the decisions. I guess I like where some of them are going, the thought processes behind some of the drafts. So we'll see how it does manage to work out. I think a lot of what's going to happen is all about Varian. I think Varian's play needs to be absolutely on point, baiting a certain capture, because those globals are going to be isolated or have the Zeratul very vulnerable to Varian. So if they do get that burst, the CC timed properly, there's a lot of like, well, yes, you were going to do your Towers of Doom, I'll send Zeratul here with Falstad there, bait the Falstad. Suddenly, one of those can easily be picked off with a Leeming Varian combo.
But it probably won't be Bloodlust this time, right, for Kenma, especially going up against Falstad with Gust?
I would avoid it at all costs. Yeah, I was surprised that we saw it in the last one. I thought it was going to be a Sunder Ancestral, but either way, I don't think there's any way we see it go into Bloodlust. It just doesn't complement the composition well enough.
When it comes down to the actual team fights, do you give the edge to Naventic then to be able to pull that out, especially since they do have Varian, Ragnaros, these strong stun-locked heroes?
It's too uncomfortable, or too comfortable of a play style on the side of Gale Force, and too comfortable of a map for me to ever be like, I think Naventic can. It's just that I think it's a cool response.
All right, let's go into the game and see if Naventic can do it, once again bringing the series back, or if Gale Force Esports will close it out.
All right, so here we go. Down 2 games here against Gale Force Esports. It's going to be Naventic. We're going to have Zeratul played by Fan. Oh, I read that wrong, my bad. Zarya is going to be played by Tomser, Big Kid on Varian, Zuna on Ragnaros, Kenma on Rhaegar, and Big Impact on the Li Ming.
And for Gale Force Esports in the red, this time Zeratul played by Fan, Akaface playing his favorite Brightwing, Michael Udall on Falstad, Crowan on Muradin, and Equinox playing Dahaka.
Another major difference to note in this game is we're going to have Big Impact on the Li Ming rather than Zuna, as we've seen in the past ones. Other than that, when it comes to builds, everything looks to be, pretty close to norm. We see Zarya focusing a bit more when it comes to the auto attacks with Feel the Heat.
That is an interesting one. Not focusing on having grenade to hit the back. Do you like it paired with To The Limit at level 7?
I don't. I've tried it a lot of times. I can't see the value too often, but by itself, I really do like Feel the Heat. I don't know if I look at Gale Force's composition as the one where I adore it. Varian, actually, the global play there, everybody making that rotation and unison. That's what we were talking about. This is what Gale Force loves to do. Absolute full collapse. But again, the amount of damage you can get out against targets, they always are like, well, I'll just be able to get up on... Oh, Zuna.
My. He does throw out Sulfuras just to get some self-healing, but with so many people there, the body block's well-timed so that Fan doesn't take too much damage, but enough to start to get the damage train going on Zuna. 2 quick kills for Gale Force Esports to start off the game, and with this global strategy, that's exactly how they want to play out this battleground. They want to get ahead in experience and therefore core health by taking control of the altars. And then later on, yes, Naventic can try to come back, but it puts more pressure on Naventic to do that, which may make them make some more mistakes that Gale Force Esports can capitalize on.
And so now Gale Force with this global, what are they going to be doing during this triple shrine? The main thought process is typically you want Zeratul to be with one of the globals, you bait them out, while you leave the other global who can handle any 1v1 that it might be into on one part, which is going to be Dahaka. He's going to be the survivor. Brightwing's the vulnerable one, and you bait that rotation down below. They even, because they have so many globals, they're just going to keep Falstad up on top as well. See what you guys are going to be up to. Big Impact will be able to get the delay, but as long as bottom is channeled now, bottom and left have been channeled, everybody's going to make the rotation on here, and I do expect Gale Force to get the upper hand.
But the people from Gale Force who went down were not the globals, so it did take a bit of time and seemed scary, but immediately as soon as some of the members of Naventic showed at the right altar for Gale Force, the rotation came in from Zeratul and Muradin, making sure that Dahaka and Falstad could safely pick up the altar. So 2 altars for Gale Force at the very first phase.
One positive side to the composition of Naventic outside of that threw the combo onto Equinox. He's burnt his self-heal. He does have a burrow still, but he's going to burrow and drag. Yeah, and then drag after. Oh, I thought he was going to be able to get that pick there, but he will be able to survive. Zuna makes this rotation while Gale Force Esports is actually just going to be able to steal the Sapper camp down below and have their own. So that is a reasonable response here, but Gale Force still with the slight edge.
Especially because they are still soaking all of the lanes, and that's not the case for Team Naventic. Gale Force gets both the Sapper camps. Gale Force can focus on the bottom lane, hoping that eventually they'll get to the point where this is a constant source of pressure. They can take this whenever they get a few kills off of Team Naventic. But taking out towers in the top kind of lets Team Naventic do the same. The only difference is there's only one Sapper camp in the top lane.
Yes, and one thing I was going to bring up before that I was talking about with Ragnaros and the value that it has outside of the triple shrine phase. In a solo shrine phase, we could see it again, like the Zul-esque use that we saw out of Team 8, in that they were able to soak 2 lanes while the fight was happening elsewhere, and that can force a bad response out of the globals on the side of GFE. So we'll see if Ragnaros ends up playing that playstyle, but Equinox is in a heavy brawl onto Zuna as well. He does get the burrow, so he might be able to survive, and Zuna does go down here, and Zarya is nowhere to be found to join this fight as Naventic seems like they're on full retreat.
This was great from Naventic to know in general where the picks were going to be coming out from Gale Force. It's just that with Burrow, Equinox being the target, they were able to sustain just enough that Gale Force came out on top of that. And the next altar phase is starting. Crowan keeping a watchful eye on the members of Naventic when they start channeling their own altar. Is he going to actually try to delay this? It is risky. Not all the members of his team are here yet. Kenma is rotating in. That forces Crowan to dwarf toss out. And both of the altars will just be traded, but the whole time, Falstad's been soaking in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Gale Force is no longer considering how do we abuse our globals to be able to secure multiple shots. Most of it is how do we secure shots while securing experience so that as the game moves on later on, they have nothing to fear because a talent tier advantage is going to be in their hands. They do forfeit this camp, but Dahaka will be able to secure the one on top. And let's be honest here, these Sappers are going to be able to clear up rather quickly. So half-level lead now for Gale Force Esports.
This screams that Naventic is scared to me. They are rotating as 5 when they're a level down, trying to get Sappers, stealing Sappers away, yes, but if they can't start getting kills off of this, the constant soaking from Gale Force is going to further their experience lead.
Yeah, you're very much right. It's just the power of having so many globals. Naventic here was trying to find the answer, and it's not like this early game started worse than every other game so far for Naventic. Yes, the experience kind of shows that things are getting pretty ugly, but it wasn't, 3 picks here and there. The other ones were just Gale Force making it to a point to be able to out-team fight and proceeded to, move in. Equinox with the flank, the drag follow-up to Zarya is going to be Gonzo here. And the rest of Naventic, nothing to be able to do about it as they are split pushing and soaking.
Heroic ability is almost available for Gale Force Esports through their great soaking, and Kenma is doing what he can for his team, wave clearing all the way up in the top.
I mean, he's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
He knows he can't do anything about it, and it's one of the most depressing feelings in the world. Zuna is going to get caught out again. He's going to be going down here.
Heroic abilities, there they are. Everything standard. Adaptation, the new favorite for Dahaka, especially with its buffs.
Down goes Ragnaros. Used to take 40 people to do that. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one. Very well done. Either way, we do have the shrines going over. That's going to set Team Naventic's score down to the 24 health. Again, level and 3/4 advantage, more like a bit in a level and a half. Falstad does fly top. Is Rhaegar under pressure? No, drag doesn't land, but they haven't seen him yet. He actually flew into fog.
I do think that this was pretty expected for Gale Force Esports to get ahead in the early game. Once Naventic can get heroic abilities, then they can start trying to team fight. And on Towers of Doom, it's not over until the last core shot hits. So there's always a possibility that your team can come back in this map.
No, absolutely. A lot of it was focused around having that taunt. I think with their composition, the drag coming out even after the 10, we do see Thompson using a very good expulsion zone to try and peel off here. The taunt ends up landing. Void has been used.
Void's used. Dahaka's right in the middle of it too. Does he have a drag to bring Thompson back in? Doesn't even have to. Body blocks hitting B-Kid and a gust to boot. Polymorph follows. B-Kid's not getting out of here very quickly anyways. Drag was once again hitting Varian. Another takedown at 8 versus 0 in kills for Gale Force Esports. And now they can continue to go around. That whole time, Kenma has just been Blitz soaking up in top, trying to get his team caught up.
Did I ever tell you about the joke Cloud9 had about Tempo Storm for a long period of time? They knew they won the series when Dreadnought was split pushing. And that is exactly it. When you know your team needs to be able to get the experience, so you're like, I'm Rhaegar, I'll get the wave clear, I'll help us, I will represent myself in a lane, and then your whole team's dying, but you're like, I can't join this fight in time, so I'm going to proceed to keep pushing because it's the best thing I can do. It sucks, and it's not fun, but that is the indicator for them, and Gale Force right now is doing that right now to Naventic. 32 shots to 24 when it comes to the core health. We see another map objective spawning here in 10 seconds. Pressure, Sappers on top, Sappers on bottom, and Gale Force about to pick up the 13 talents here. This is not looking pretty for Naventic, Gilly.
B-Kid is at least hiding in the bush in the bottom. If that's where Dahaka brush talks in, he might be able to get Stunlock, turn around with the rest of the team and kill him. Crowan dives in onto Kenma in the back, forcing him to go toward the rest of the members of Gale Force. Here comes Equinox. Before Ancestral Healing can connect on Li Ming, Li Ming is down. And now all of Naventic are forced into a corner. Zuna's health bar drops rapidly. Kenma, the next to fall. Tomster will be just going to beast up to his death, and a full team wipe is imminent for Gale Force Esports.
Gale Force is going to be able to secure a minimum of 1 bell tower here before they finish those shots. Falstad you see flying, getting the pressure up to top. That's going to be 2, meaning the shots are now going to be 6, hitting the core of Naventic in a matter of seconds here.
Are they going to... Wow, they're going for all 3,
No
Dread. They're going for the trifecta.
I don't think they can do this.
Dahaka's waiting. Nah.
Yeah, Dahaka is going to start the channel here. Before we get into any other crazy action, we're going to take another minute to appreciate what just happened in that last team fight, because there was a lot of beautiful things here. Specifically, the gust that just happened to isolate everybody and push them there. But this is the small things that I think are beautiful about Gale Force here today and their performances. Even Kenma is going to be on the tree, and Crowan, he's just going to get that Skullcracker, and even before letting anybody run away, he's going to throw out the Stormbolt, get the body block. Like, they aren't just taking, okay, we got the pick, this is good. They are doing everything they can, calculating how many things can we get, and that is why we see these full wipes and now a 3, almost 4 level lead over their rival, Naventic.
Gale Force are also defending the bottom bell tower while Michael Udall pushes in the mid. If he can take this down, they're starting to get the free shots the entire time. But Falstad isn't here. This is a time when Naventic starts to jump in. Have Gale Force been too greedy?
They do end up losing 1. Now Falstad is there. He does have Gus off the cooldown. He's got a lot of poke too. They're going to commit. Here's good. Gus is going to isolate. Kenma is diving pretty deep. There's a polymorph. Oh, suddenly Crowan's in a bad spot. Avatar is going to be used, but they have a moment to be able to retreat here as the bell tower has now been converted. Naventic shots, Naventic's core is no longer going to be receiving those periodic shots, but I mean, that was a silver lining, but this game is still absolute control for GFE. 3-level lead, over twice the health onto the core, and they're just dictating the movement of Naventic all throughout this game.
Yeah, Gale Force have that 16 to 13 level that most teams dream of having in a game. Team Naventic are playing cleanup to make sure that they don't just lose the game right here. Because how do you try to contest the triple ultra phase that comes in with the 5th phase without 16 Talontiers, and when you haven't won a team fight?
Yeah, it's a very difficult position to be in here. Now we see a triple phase again. 4 bell towers for both of the teams. Zeratul with aggressive positioning. Brightwing is going to retreat for now, wait to teleport as Dahaka is on the far right. Zarya's just there to be able to get the delay in the upper left. Fan probably won't reveal himself. There he goes, the initiation. There is going to be the polymorph, and she's going to be going down. Expulsion zone's not enough here. That will secure at least shots for Naventic down below, but not picking up a kill is what they were hoping to be able to do. A man down. Gale Force Esports here, full control over this game.
Gus comes in to help Crowan get back out of this dangerous situation. 3-man Void Prison. Kenma isolated from the rest. Equinox jumping in and throwing down Dark Swarm. Li Ming is taken out. So does Brightwing, though. That's a 1 for 2 at least. They're getting some. Sulfurous Smash drops down. It takes out another one. Crowan and Equinox, the front line, staying strong. This looks to be a team wipe, Dread, as Crowan secures another Stormbolt. Crowan's been pretty impressive with these Stormbolts.
Yeah, he's done a very good job.
Fan will make it 5.
Yeah, Crowan's doing very well this game, much better than some of the early ones. He is hitting pretty much everything. His body blocks are on his point. His initiations are very well thought out. I mean, for me, this game, it's got to be Mike Udall. I feel like has stepped up a lot. Fan is performing well. Don't get me wrong. None of the players on GFE are doing poorly by any means, but Mike has had some very good gusts. His DPS, he's barrel rolling aggressively at all the right times here, and what that is going to be able to do now is secure this boss. More shots are slowly ticking away onto the core of Naventic as they are now within lethal range on their core.
And Haka is just going to play the game. Equinox pushing this lane in the top lane to start pushing the pressure back onto the...
18-2.
I know.
28
versus 4.
I just looked at the numbers. That is 18-2.
It's not pretty. But Gale Force's play has been very pretty, beautiful even. Their constant rotations on Towers of Doom is so good. This is why I was concerned that Team Naventic let Gale Force pick this battleground, because for wherever else, however strong they look, they always look the strongest here. Yeah,
I very much agree with you, but now we do have to appreciate the fact that Naventic has the ability to fight on the same talents here for the first time pretty much the whole game. And so we'll see how that's going to be able to work out for them. Every heroic is available. They have to consider shots on both sides. Honestly, Naventic is just going to get voided and gusted away. Here's going to be the gust first as the channels, and there's the void, and there's a gust. That's going to be G. G is the channel on Equinox. It's not confirmed, actually. The Sulfurous Smash got the interruption. The taunt is coming through. Akka is in a tough spot. No blink heal, and suddenly what looked like a pretty victory here might be falling apart for GFE.
Maybe the channel just wasn't quite fast enough, or things weren't lined up just enough. Equinox wanted to go back in. Somebody has to go down. We've got Ragnaros and Kinma in the bottom to start channeling. B-Kid and Tomster in the top. They might have at least stopped. They did at least stop from losing the game right here, right now, but they are by no means out of this, are Naventic.
Yeah, this is going to be still a tough spot because GFE is closing in on that 20. And it's unrealistic that Naventic will be able to pick up, unless they win another fight in between, pick up 20 before that next phase, while Gale Force will still have that into their hands. They are also looking to open up other pressure points onto the map, and that is going to be at the bell tower on top to Haka, securing those sappers to be able to move in. That should force a rotation. We also have to consider the fact that Gale Force has Gust. They haven't hit 20 yet. But a Gust is used on this map as actually like a lethal point. When you have those sappers pressuring in, if your opponent goes to be able to defend them, you just Gust them all the way, and those will move in, attack the core, and win the game. And this is a bad spot for Naventic.
That Gust was used just to push all the members of Naventic underneath the bell tower, which is still firing down. There are some minions to soak up for now. Huge Sulfurous Smash just obliterates 3 of the members of Gale Force Esports. Naventic turn right back around to secure the bell tower.
But there's going to be 3 shots moving in the core onto top. There's 1, 2, 3. Now 1 health remains on the core of Naventic, but we're going to take another glance at that huge play coming out of Naventic.
There they come in. We're looking for Expulsion Zone goes down too. Expulsion Zone on the member. They try to go in.
All 3 in the center with the Q coming out from Zuna. My goodness.
Beautiful plays from Naventic, barely keeping him back in this game. But still, it's only gotten them 20. It's 1 health versus 19. It's a mountain to climb.
It is a mountain to climb, but that experience they were able to gain before the next Shrine phase is beyond worth it. Those 3 kills have net them a lot of experience. 20 is in control when we face the next phase. Also, very good job from Gale Force Esports being able to clear out that bell tower. It's a 20 seconds, so everybody will be alive on the side of Gale Force Esports. There's only 2 up. Again, they have very good control heroics. We didn't see Falstad actually move into Wind Tunnel, so won't have nearly as consistent. He's only got his single gust, but he does have the mobility advantage here. This is a tense moment. Even if Naventic wins it, there is still a lot to go, but all it takes is 1 mistake, and Gale Force, they'll have it.
Without all of these, or without this bottom bell tower, it's hard for Gale Force to move into a position to be able to get to the altars, and Gale Force are just focusing on taking out the bell tower and bottom. Instead, Zuna using Molten Core to stall out so they get all of the shots from both of the altars. And now it's 7-1.
7-1, the well now being harassed by Zuna. Not much you can do about that one, sad day. But very well done. Naventic is somehow being able to turn around what looked like an unwinnable game for a large portion of it. Bell towers are being returned here for GFE. Bottom will be soon. The Sapper has now been started for Naventic. They'll be able to try and apply that pressure, but between Gust and Void, I don't know if it's realistic for them to make huge plays. When it comes to the Sappers, not nearly as much as it is for GFE.
Right, the bell tower too is very low, and it takes a little while for the Sappers to get in. So the best Naventic can do is have Zuno and the rest of Naventic stand up super far so that Gale Force potentially makes a positional error by trying to get the bell tower back. But seeing that that is not to be done, Naventic are rotating in. They see Mike in the mid. Dahaka is in top. Not sure if they realize that.
Yeah, he did show himself quite a bit ago, and I think it's reasonable to expect Dahaka is going to be on his own. But the fact that Udall, see if he senses this boss being started, the transition for Naventic, I think they totally understand that they're just afraid to do anything about it, considering they have 3 members in the bot lane. So this is 4 more shots. Now, we have a game on our hands, Gilly.
This is getting insane. Somehow Naventic have been able to claw back into it, being down so far in core health. 3 versus 1. And this is why Towers of Doom puts out some awesome Heroes of the Storm games. It's not over until the core actually falls.
And all it took was that one play where you saw the double zoning tools used on the side of GFE, and when it didn't work fully, Zuna with that interrupt, I mean, Zuna is just performing on this Ragnarok. So consider that. He stopped the game from being lost and then proceeded to turn that 3-man full value Fury Smash into his Q. I mean, come on. It doesn't get much better than that.
Why isn't Dahaka coming down? It is time. This is it. This is the altar for either team. Whoever takes this altar takes the game. And in Gale Force Esports spot, that's taking the series.
Yeah, 1 channel. Lot of pressure, tension already going in very early. That was miscommunication as Equinox and Void's used together, but it doesn't matter when Kenma is already going to be dead. Gus is going to be there to split, so no zoning tool still available. There's the Burrow. Expulsion zone is used.
Here comes Akaface and Michael Udall too. Gus has already been used. Crowan's in the back, gets taunted, but big impact. Drops, no more Li Ming, no more resets. Equinox pulling Zuna out. Crowan's getting fairly low in health, as is Fan. Submerge for Ragnaros allows him to heal right back up. Tomster is doing everything he can to keep Beacon and Zuna shielded, but they have to continue to fight this.
They've got it back to be able to tap the well, but then they're going to be able to lose the game. Akka has already started the channel halfway through, so Fury Smash is going to be used. Now Fan's going to join this fight. Look at Beacon's health dropping so much. Zuna's done. That's going to be Beacon with the Stormbolt. Tomster used to share the same fate. B-step as much as you want, but Gale Force Esports is going to take this series 3-0 over Naventic.
It almost was a miracle comeback for Naventic. But in the very end, Gale Force Esports came out on top, a 3-0 over Naventic. Something we did not even see Tempo Storm do.
Yeah, that was insane performance coming out from Gale Force Esports. Very, very clean play. And obviously, after watching the interview bit between them all, they're probably feeling very, very good about that whole series.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get to talk to them and see how they're feeling. I especially want to hear what they did to stay calm. I mean, I know Crowan talked about it before, their ability to stay calm even after a loss in a series, that they can come back and be okay and not ever start to tilt. But it had to be so hard in that game, especially as Naventic has just somehow kept not dying.
Yeah. They did a very good job, and it all, like I said, shout out to Zuna and his performance on the Ragnaros. He was the main factor for them to be able to even turn that game around at all. That being said, Gale Force was doing a lot, kind of cheeky play with the Void, with the Gus. It's not very common to go that route to try and secure a game, so I can see why that slip-up happened, but it was just very well done. Good play coming out from both sides, and impressive for GFE.
Well, we're waiting to hear from Michael Udall. We want to get him on the phone to congratulate him and hear about that series versus Naventic, pick his brain about what exactly he'll be tweeting out maybe to Naventic or not tweeting.
How many past retweets it is? Because for those who don't know, they have this thing where they look through each other's Twitter feed until somebody talks trash 6 months ago about a different player, and then they retweet it 6 months later because they think it's funny, I guess. I don't know. I just go through my Twitter feed and suddenly see a tweet from Kenma 6 months ago that Mike Udall retweeted, and it'll be something talking down on one another.
Well, besides that, Gale Force Esports now 3-0 over Team Naventic. We had a lot of questions, even at the beginning of the series versus B-Step, about how Gale Force Esports was going to be able to pull off the 4-flex in a support strategy. What are your thoughts on it now?
They've done it, I guess. I will say I'm hesitant to believe in it in the long run, especially when play of the entire region rises. But for now, I think it is a successful approach that they're doing very well. I think off of just raw play alone, I'd be comfortable to say that I think Gale Force is definitely in that 1-2 slot so far. I think them and Tempo Storm are near the top, as long as they keep playing like they just did there. So.
It seems like it's very good for them, making their opponents not be able to tell what's going to happen in the drafts.
Yeah, and coming up with multiple strategies like the towers, giving them more than just, one thing, like just the Ragnaros to be able to be concerned about.
All right, well, I think we are ready for our interview with Michael Udall. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's up, guys?
Woo, congratulations on your win over Team Naventic. How's the team feeling?
Yo, we're feeling really good. We're really happy. This is a match we're really looking forward to. Always a good feeling to dumpster Naventic. Easy 3-0, Naventic in 2017.
Okay, well, let us know. We want to hear about your 4-flex in a support approach. What is it that started you guys down that path? And I don't know, I guess just like what was it that made it so appealing to you guys?
I mean, that's something I've always wanted ever since I started playing Heroes of the Storm. I remember, I think it was last summer when they announced that there might be like 6-man rosters or something, and Zoya announced something of 10-man rosters is the futures of Heroes of the Storm, so that way you have everyone playing their best hero. And then once we picked up Equinox, it was a possibility, just because he has such a large melee assassin and assassin pool. It's amazing. I mean, it worked out well.
And it did.
Yeah. What was your guys' thought process in the last game? Obviously, having such great control over, obviously, you talked about how much you didn't want to lose to Naventic, and then you're getting so close. Game number 3, things are looking very, very good. And then suddenly, max range, Ragnaros is going to be able to get the delay after you burn Void and the Gus, and then he hits a huge 3-man, and this game is suddenly winnable for Naventic. Like, what was the thought process, the communication going on there?
I mean, that's on me. I called for a fight because I got the 5-man gust into the 4, and Fan, he said, like, right before I said, I can gust him in, Fan said, I have VP in 15, and he, like, kind of tried to back me off. That was just a bad fight by us. Like, if we just play it slow, wait for VP to be up, just like that last fight, we just isolate one person, there's no way we lose. So, I mean, that props to Naventic. That was a huge first smash. Like, that was props. They kept training Akka.
Yeah, I'm sure that was very scary to have to deal with that too. But congrats, you guys were able to pick up a 3-0. So before we go, do you have any shout outs for your fans or anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank everyone. Thank Gale Force. Thank our sponsors. And if you guys want to check out Fan, Crowan, and we all stream twitch.tv/Crowan, twitch.tv/StarCraft2Fan, and twitch.tv/Michael Udall. Come hang out with us.
Awesome. Well, congrats again. Good luck with the rest of HGC for you.
Thank you, guys. You have a good one.
Always nice to get to talk to Mike.
Yeah, he's a fun little lad. He's fun to hang out with, fun to get to have a conversation with. And he's pretty good at the video game. Don't be afraid to tune in those Twitch streams. I love the shameless plug we got going on. We had Quack with like his monster. Now we got the follow me on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I forgot about that.
Love it.
Well, let's look at the schedule for next week because unfortunately we are drawing to the end of HGC for this weekend, but we have so much more Heroes of the Storm still to come throughout this entire year. On Friday, next Friday, we'll have Team Dignitas versus Synergy kicking things off at 9 a.m. PST, 6 p.m. CET, and then Diamond Skin versus B Genius.
And then for North America, we're going to have Tempo Storm take on Team Freedom and No Tomorrow versus Superstars.
Be great to see Tempo Storm once again. I also am so excited to see Superstars, especially after their great showing in the first series that they had versus Team Freedom.
Yeah, very calculated play, like a kind of, really considering what are their options. I think them, Teammate, and GFE are by far the most calculated. Like even when we saw Teammate get a win and a wipe, they instantly move to the boss. They understand what do I have available and instantly making the proper decision. And that kind of swift decision making is really what can set apart good and great teams.
And for all of those teams, how great is it to see these players who have been in the scene for such a long time find the right match of personalities or skill or whatever it is to finally really show what exactly they can do and being at the top of North America now.
It's definitely nice to be able to see them thrive for sure. But I wouldn't go as far as maybe saying necessarily the top. We got a long couple of weeks here for
That's
HGC.
a great point.
These guys have a lot of metas they got to be able to adapt to. We're only seeing them in one, right? So drafting is going to be changing. Prioritization is going to be changing. So I think the real beauty and test that we have here with HGC is how well can you adapt. We don't need you to be able to be the most dominant in one meta. We need you to be able to fill every kind of strategy in every role.
And now the big question I know that's on everybody's minds, seeing Gale Force Esports do so well versus Naventic, how are they going to shape up versus the terror that is Tempo Storm?
I don't know, honestly. After both of their performances, I can't say if I feel like one way or the other. I'll say Tempo looked great for 2 games, and then things got a little bit weird. As Kata put it, we just threw. And then Gale Force Esports a little bit more calculated. Almost had that moment of we just threw, but was able to pull back.
What else about North America, man? Naventic, any final thoughts on them moving forward through the rest of HGC? What are you hoping to see from them in the future?
I mean, for me, with Naventic, it's always going to come down to a team full of great players. I mean, Zuno, obviously, I always have very, very high praise for, especially when he pulls amazing plays like that. But more than anything, it's just going to be being on the same page, working together as a unit, and always having the right mindset. And those things are something that maybe can't even be taught and might just be a core innate issue kind of within the group. But we'll see how that kind of smooth over as things go on.
Well, before we end for the evening, let's take one last look at the updated standings for the top 8 teams in the North American Heroes Global Championship. Team 8 and Gale Force Esports both have 2 wins each. Superstars and Tempo Storm both have 1 win each. We'll see them get to play again next weekend. Team Freedom and No Tomorrow lost their 1 matchup this weekend, and B-Step as well. And then Team Naventic, the 1 team to go 0-2 in series this weekend. They did have 2 very tough competitors too, going up against Tempo Storm and Gale Force Esports.
Yeah.
Clearly, especially it was so close versus Tempo.
They had the Misfits opening that we saw out of the European scene, where they have to take on 2 Titans back to back. So obviously, maybe not so indicative of the actual raw strength, putting them there at the bottom. But over time, I expect to see them, climb up there towards that 3-4-2-1 position.
And actually, B-Step kind of in the same situation too. They are at 0-2, falling to both Team 8 and Gale Force Esports. But again, their series versus Gale Force came down to the wire, the very last game.
Yeah, very much so. And we see the opposite with Team 8, right? They did do very, very well. And I mean, full compliments to them as a group. But have they really been put to the test, I think, is the question here. Yes, they did take that the right step here in week number 1, but we're going to have to find out how well they can keep it up.
Well, I cannot wait for more of the Heroes Global Championship. We hope that we will see you back next weekend. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend. Until then, we will see you next time. Have a good night.
Marines are the toughest frag magnets in the galaxy. But when they're in trouble, guess who they call? Medic! Winning a battle is more than just shooting enemy soldiers. It's about saving your own. I protect every member of my squad with my life. Sometimes I think I'm the only thing holding them together. Who am I? I'm Lieutenant Morales. I'm your man. I'm gonna need a lot of bandages.
It is said that I hunt alone, wandering these bitter lands, far from civilization. But in truth, I hunt with family. One that I hold close. I protect them, and they protect me. I am Rexar, champion of the Horde. And I never hunt alone.
Heroes Heroes of the Storm. Play free and experience the new StarCraft-themed battlegrounds. Rated T for Teen.